A very good morning to you. This is Breakfast Weekend on Impact Africa Television, IATV. My name, as usual, is Ayo Durojaye. Of course, I'm not here alone. Hello.
Good morning. Hello, Ayo. I hope you're having a pleasant time at home today. And now that you're watching Breakfast Weekend, I'm sure you will have a much more enjoyable time. My name is Wura Olakomi.
Of course, we can't kick off things without first apologizing for that short delay, in transmission time. We sincerely apologize. It's all in a bid to serve you better. And so, as a result of that, we may not be able to have our little chit-chat. Myself and Wura already had that off air. So we'll just kick off with our very first discussion segment. And this morning, we have a professional in the studio. Sometimes we have some emergencies, and sometimes a medical doctor or a medical personnel is not immediately available. And then people are confused. What do I do? How do I do this? I know that some people give trainings, on things like this so that people are more knowledgeable when something happens. They can immediately apply first aid. But sometimes when people don't know what to do, they just shout, wow.
They even end up making things worse.
And then they get to the hospital and they are wondering, but I just tried to save the person. Well, this morning on Breakfast Weekend, we have an expert who will be enlightening us on how to go about things like that. And who better to do that than Mr. Ladipo Oshunloye? He is the PR, Rescue and Safety Support Initiative Nigeria. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Nice thank you for having me on the program.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate.
So let's talk about emergencies, health emergencies now. What are the kinds of things that can happen that a person can still, render support or should render support? And what are those ones that it's advisable to just find one way to get the person medical help?
Basically, if I will answer that question, ma'am, I would love to say most of the emergencies happen off hospital or healthcare facilities. So basically, more than 3/4 of emergencies happen at home, on the road, and maybe sometimes our place of work. So basically, I would love to highlight some of the emergencies that happen.
Can happen.
And the first one is burns.
Oh.
Burns is a common and general emergency. Even I myself, as a nurse, as a child, I was a victim. A pot of stew poured on my hands, and the scar is still there.
Yeah.
So, and basically, my mom, she's a nurse.
Okay.
But because of over seriousness and she does have to do broke an egg. And just applied on the head.
And does that do anything? Really?
It does. It does.
It helps.
No, on the contrary, it worsens matters.
Really?
So basically, for burns at home, the first thing to do is to run the affected area under a cold or maybe probably a tepid water or running water, just to cool up the temperature.
Okay.
For about 3 to 5 minutes. Then after that, you get a non-absorbent material, probably a clean nylon, and to wrap on the idea is just you want to prevent the place from getting dehydrated, because most time, because the skin is a protective tissue or organ that covers the human body, and one of the important things it does is it prevents us from becoming excessively dehydrated, because even though the skin is an intact barrier or an intact barrier, we still lose sensible amounts of fluid or water through the skin. So now imagine when the skin is
absolutely peeled off.
Exactly. So that part of the body tends to lose fluid more than other parts. So the goal is just to prevent further water or fluid loss from that part. So you tie you get a clean nylon and put on the affected part. Then the other thing to do is that you don't try to put a gauze. Because gauze is made up of cotton, so it draws water out.
Before you go any further, we're talking about burns now, and I understand that there are different degrees of burns.
Yes,
how do I know the one that I should be covering all of this? Sometimes people get burnt by maybe a lantern or something, and then immediately they are pouring water, wrapping something over it. How do I know the degree to which all of this can be applied?
Okay, ma'am. Firstly, to address that, you assess the skin. If the skin is intact, probably there's a scale. And what fluid is just beneath the
Building on
skin.
it.
That is inflammatory process as occurred.
Okay.
You don't need to apply. Just run that part under running water and
Okay.
expose to hair.
Okay.
So most times it's just take, you can just take mild analgesic for pain, but that you don't need to apply. And another thing, the reason why I said you apply is because the skin is impaired, is that part of the body is susceptible to infection. Infection can set in because that part, the skin there is being impaired, and like I said, the skin is is one of the protective tissue or organ that so I understand. So basically,
Before you move on, let me just cut in. I know some people say that you should keep flour in your fridge so that it's cold, and then you can apply on your burns or something. Is that bad?
It is bad because you don't know the kind of microorganism as in that flour. Most of the time, it's just we try as much to prevent infection because sometimes,
or even uncooked pap. Some would say that it will prevent the burn from getting worse, at least until you get to the hospital.
The uncooked pap that most times is exposed, that microbes and all. So you just tend to make the matter worse if you apply those on the affected area.
Okay, so after running it under water and covering it,
yes,
what next should we do?
Okay, that's a very good time to seek medical attention.
Okay.
Because most times the pain is always severe. Because when they come to the hospital, we assess them using pain scale. It's always severe.
Apart from burns, now what other ones can we?
Another one that is common is epilepsy.
That one is
people throw epileptic fits, especially in school. I've seen that that couple of times as an undergraduate, even some of my friends. I'm just being confidential. So basically, during that fit, one of the mistake people do is that they take people down. Holding them down is dangerous. I'm gonna address that. Holding them down is dangerous. One, some of their body parts can dislocate because that jacking. It has some sizable amount of force. So holding them down, you can apply pressure to them. You can actually prompt a fracture or dislocation. So most times you just allow them to pass through. That phase has to occur.
But I don't know. When they are having such seizures, some people fear that even that can cause some injuries if they just let them be. While they are jacking, they can hit something. They can. So how do you save them from themselves too?
Basically, the better thing to do there is just to remove sharp objects from them. Then if there is probably a bucket of water, you get it as far away from them because they can aspirate. Because during that fit, most of the body reflexes are down. The surrounding reflex is down. The gagging, all the reflexes are down. So basically, you remove any injurious object from them, water and all, but you let them go through that phase. There's nothing to do.
You said you were going to address the issue of shoving spoons.
Yes, ma'am. There was a kid that was brought to our emergency center now. The kid, he had convulsion. So unfortunately, the mom used spoon. So one of his teeth or tooth got dislodged and entered into his pharynx, and that obstructed the flow of air into his lungs, and the boy gave up.
Wow.
But oftentimes, this is to prevent the victim from biting off their tongue.
Yes, exactly. So that's why that is the reason why people have to learn the right thing. People have idea of all these things, but most time they practice them in the wrong way.
So what is the right thing to do?
Yeah, in the hospital we have a tongue depressor or spatula that we insert. It's made up of wood. So it is not that strong enough to cause a dislodge of tooth. So basically, but at home, another thing that is close to that is a wooden ruler. It can be used. Just because it's never even biting of tongue that people actually prevent. Is that tongue might fall off back and actually obstruct the larynx, and still on the long run too, that kind of patient will suffer from asphyxiation, that is loss of oxygen. So it's not actually to bite. It's not biting. Is not even the.
It's not the main issue.
All.
Okay. Also, in the case of fainting or convulsion, we have some people that put some materials to stimulate the person. They say that it will bring the person back, like onions and other stuff. That they say just put this huge chunk of onion there, the person will just and come back. You know.
That is absolutely wrong. Because I was going to talk about syncope or fainting. It's also known as fainting. Okay. People just go suddenly unconscious.
Okay.
So basically, people tend to go unconscious if there is hypoglycemia. Hypoglycemia means there's reduction in the amount of sugar that has to be in the blood, and it is measured in 100 mils.
Okay.
That is, there's this particular amount of sugar that has to be in 100 mils of blood. So most times, people tend to go into syncope when the body energy, the body uses glucose as a source of energy. So most times the body tends to go into syncope or fainting if there is reduced amount of sugar in the body. So the best thing to do when that happens is that we want to preserve some vital organs, and most of the vital organs are in the abdomen and in the thorax.
Okay.
Then the brain is the most important, because the brain can only survive 3 to 5 minutes without oxygen. And the brain is also so sensitive that just slight changes in sugar level, the person goes unconscious. It can't tolerate hypoglycemia like other organs.
So when somebody faints like that,
so when a person faints, don't give anything by mouth.
Okay.
So the first thing to do is that you remove all tight chlorines.
Okay.
Just to have a patent airway.
Yeah, passage.
Then the next thing to do is that you raise the person's leg up, and the rationale behind that is that you want to promote venous return. You want to promote the amount of blood from the least vital organs to the more vital organs. Because I've said that the more vital organs are in the upper extremities of the body. So you raise the person's leg up. So
sorry, before you move on, raising the person's leg up,
yes,
like vertically or horizontally?
Vertically.
Okay.
Against gravity.
Okay.
So this promotes blood to flow to
back,
the upper.
down.
Exactly.
Okay.
So once you do that, you assess the person. You check if there is pulse. Pulse is the amount of is the pressure that is felt due to heavy. So basically, you check if the person has pulse. So if the person does not have pulse, what we do is in medical practitioner in practice that we do CAB. We start with.
Is it something that can be done at home?
That's CPR that I was going to talk about, because you asked me about CPR.
Okay.
So sometimes when someone goes unconscious like that, you tend to give the person CPR.
Okay.
CPR is known as cardiopulmonary resuscitation.
Okay.
Cardio is heart, then pulmonary means lungs.
Okay.
So the action is just to we want to the reason why we are doing that is just to want to redirect blood to the brain, especially because I told you that the brain is very, very sensitive. Then also to the heart, because during every pumping of blood, the heart to get back its own blood return via the coronary arteries and all. So you are trying to redirect majorly most of the blood to the brain, then some to the heart, because in that condition, if the heart does not actually get blood, even though if the person come back to life, you'll have lost some sizable amounts of cardiac tissue. So we're trying to reestablish a kind of mechanical blood flow by giving press compressions.
Okay.
So basically, you check, you lose tight clothings, you check the person's pupil, you check the pulse and all. Then you go in for what is it called, compression. So another thing people don't get is that there is a technique. You don't just place your hand.
So for many people, just wake up in Jesus' name, wake up. So how's it done exactly?
So exactly, the wrist,
okay,
my non-dominant hand, this is my left hand.
Is your own more dominant?
None.
Okay. Yes, my left hand too.
So you place the dominant hand, the palm on the dorsum of your hand. This is the dorsum of your hand. So you place it like this. Then this part, the hardest part of the hand, the wrist, you place it on the sternum. This is the sternum.
Okay.
So once you place
sternum is like the chest?
No, it's a bone.
Oh, okay. That bone here.
So underneath it.
Okay.
Or posterior to it is the heart. That's where the heart lies.
Okay.
So in doing that, because the rib cage is compressible.
Okay.
There's a sizable amount of movement that the rib cage undergoes. So in doing that, you automatically also what is it called? Mechanically pumping the heart, because the rib cage is not fixed.
Okay.
So because the heart is behind, once you are doing that, it's also affecting the heart
as well
directly. So you go in, and again, your body has to be aligned, especially what is it called? Your hand, your upper limbs has to be aligned. Not just the elbow shooting out. Exactly. Then you rest all your body weight has to be rested on. Yes.
Regardless of the weight of the person applying this.
Exactly. It's not a joke.
Are you sure that bone will not be broken?
It won't.
Okay. So what's the frequency? The frequency that one should do that?
30 compressions to 2 breaths. You compress 30 times.
In regular intervals.
Exactly.
3.
Okay.
Yes. Then you give 2 breaths, like mouth to mouth breathing.
Okay.
Twice. Then again, most times people tire out.
The person
because it's a very vigorous exercise. People tire out.
Okay.
So most times it always goes to change hands. So when one person is exhausted, another person
comes,
takes charge.
All of this can take how long while you're doing all that? Like how many minutes?
We call it the first golden 5 minutes or the window period.
Okay.
So it's very, very precious, because once the patient misses that first 5 minutes,
anything can happen.
Person automatically becomes vegetable.
Oh boy. Now, while fainting is a thing, I understand that some people choke as well, and then they really just cannot help themselves.
Hey, let me just conclude that part, because people tend to put what is it called? People should avoid putting anything. Don't even sprinkle water. Yes, because the body can go into hypothermia.
And hypothermia is
it's very, very, very. It's even worse than hypothermia.
Okay.
It's easy to reduce.
Hypothermia is low temperature.
Yeah, hypothermia is
high temperature
or fever.
Okay.
It's easy to lower the body temperature, but to build it, to build it up is very, very, what is it called? Difficult. Then you don't also build up at once. Very dangerous. Very, very. Person can go into shock.
Okay. So any other thing apart from not putting anything in the person's
So another thing is that you can just make you can take granulated sugar, make pastry of it. Just paste, then you pack
with
into
water.
The person. Just need to make paste,
okay.
Make a pastry. Then you pack into the person's cheek, because the cheek is highly vascularized. So the person because the person cannot swallow.
Okay.
Yeah, you can only do this when the person is probably has gained some amount of consciousness. So you pack to the cheek, the sugar is being directly absorbed into the blood vessel. It does not go actually through the mouth, and because at that point of time there's no swallowing reflex at all, because the person can aspirate. I don't want the person to aspirate, so you pack sugar on the cheek.
Okay. So let's talk about choking.
Exactly. So another
when it comes to choking, I want us to look at it from 2 different angles. For adults,
okay, ma'am.
There's times that adults can help themselves. So I know that there are times that it's quite difficult. They just can't find the breath to push whatever is blocking the airway out. And in babies especially, I know that some people just have their child maybe choking on food or maybe a solid item, and they just don't know what to do. Some people try to push, but what exactly are you pushing?
We all probably once in our lifetime we have choked maybe
on bone, fish bone. Fish bone especially.
Or grains, cereals. These are little things that can cause, or even beans. All these little things can cause choking. I've even seen a kid that choked a bead
Nasty. But so,
what do
what's
we
the
do?
thing to do?
So basically, for choking, you because the person will be so restless, very restless. You have seen someone that choked before. You have to.
What do you mean if you've seen someone? What about the person, the people sitting in front of you? We've never choked.
No, it depends.
Is it possible for someone to never have choked before? Is it possible?
Very
I
slim.
doubt it.
So just say that.
because most times let me just say we actually bring that to ourselves, because most times we talk when there's food in our mouth. Very, very bad.
Okay, so
Because when you are chewing, the larynx is what is it called? Is covered.
okay.
It's only the esophagus is just behind the larynx. So when you talk, the larynx is also known as the voice box.
Yeah.
So once you are talking, you are automatically opening, probably partially. So anything that you are chewing, that's why they say don't talk while eating. Yoruba will say Yoruba.
Yes.
Yoruba will say it is bad. Yes, but sometimes they are right, because probably they don't know the rationale, but you don't actually need to do that. You can actually choke whatever you are. So the person is they are always restless. They want to just get the stuff out and get it out. But sometimes when you do that, you can tend to actually make it worse. Because most time when you choke like that, it's probably on the larynx and all. But once you start trying to it can actually dislodge and go into the trachea, bronchi, into the lungs, and you don't want that to happen.
So somebody's choking.
So somebody's choking, you reassure the person, okay, make the person as calm. Even the person knows it's not going to be calm, but make the person calm.
Okay.
Then after that, you you encourage the person to cough. Yeah. Cough as
I think
hard
the
as
first
you
thing the
can.
person wants to do is to just try to swallow and keep swallowing and keep swallowing.
You don't want to swallow.
Use a big
Really?
ball of
Right?
solid
You just want
a big
to-
chunk to push it down.
Really?
You can actually dislodge it. Not since you go into the mouth again.
No, not the mouth. The saliva is already in the mouth. It's not as if you're putting any other thing.
No, people try to probably use a banhole to push that. She does
A person that is choking.
Yes.
You take another ball of a bar. That person is not choking.
Or
They are just
water.
lying.
or water most times, yes.
I can't believe
Like
this.
a gulp of water like that.
You do
And
that.
and
I don't.
that
But I
can-
know people do.
Yeah.
Yes.
That can go into the larynx as well, because that time the larynx is actually open.
Okay.
So what's basically
Try
to
to
do?
cough.
Yeah, cough as hard, because coughing you are there is an amount of air.
Maybe I think what I'm thinking about is something different entirely.
Okay.
I'm talking about when pepper, for example, it may not be bone. It could be bone, but there was a day. Maybe I should give this example. There was a day I'd already slept, and I just woke up knowing that something was happening. I couldn't breathe. And I could feel pepper at the back of my head. I think I ate maybe around 5 or so. So I could not even immediately think of what is this exactly. But I know it was pepper. And I was just trying to swallow. And all of those. So you think that at that time, trying to cough would be a good idea?
Pepper, like, how do you know it's pepper? You just
Because I can feel the burning sensation, yes.
It's not actually pepper. You just feel that sensation at the back of your head.
Really?
Yeah. It's not actually as if it was pepper.
Okay. So coughing is still what should be done in that
Exactly.
situation.
If you choke, probably a grain or what is it called? Any material.
Okay.
You should try and cough. Coughing, try to expel is a very protective reflex.
Okay.
It's enough to expel the material out from the airway. But if coughing does not actually help, there's a technique that we call Emlich maneuver.
What's that?
I'm interested in that.
So what you do is that you go behind the patient.
Okay.
Then you what is it called? You throw your arms just beneath the sternum,
Okay.
and not on the sternum. So just beneath the sternum here. So you like this.
That someone is
Technique
behind
like
me.
this, exactly. So you fist, then cover it.
Okay.
Then you pull. That force is enough.
All these things.
It's painful.
Why do they have
This-
to do with
this
force?
is painful. Yeah. because that's the only thing that can get such out.
Okay.
Like I said, the line is very very small. So you need sizable amount of force to actually take out such what is it called? So that's for adults. But it's painful because you have to tell the person that you are going to do this thing, but it's going to be because if you try it first time, second time, the person might say I'm not doing it again. It's actually painful.
Oh my. Okay.
That's why we nurses or we talk to our patients, our clients. You have to have this conversation with them about any procedure you want to do, because the person might find it very
uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's why non-medic personnel to need to learn the ideal.
Okay. So now,
then for
babies,
for babies,
you're talking about adults.
On the contrary, is you can't actually do that for them.
Okay.
What you do is that you place the baby like on the abdomen like this. So you just grab onto their chest, turn them, you tilt their heads.
Okay.
That's enough. It's even is a very good technique. It can even dislodge it. But if it does not come out, you spank the back very hard. Repetitively.
All these things are painful.
Painful, and you have to talk to, because no one will be like, are you abusing my child?
Yes, right.
So you carry the mother along that that this has to be done just to save the babies and life.
I'm interested in accidents. I'm not talking about the huge one now, like maybe car accident or something, but maybe while walking, climbing a step, you fall down and you feel a pain in maybe your leg or your arms. I know the first thing that our mothers, I'm sorry to say mothers, the first thing they would do is let me help you pull it, let me help you rub it. And what should we do in such a situation?
Well, most times during that, is that there is a sprain. That is maybe a ligament, you twist the ligament.
Okay.
So most times if that occurs, you should try and make the place as immobile as possible.
Okay.
Probably if you're alone, just try and sit down for some time. Don't aggravate.
You shouldn't rub, we shouldn't pull, even if it's swelling up, we shouldn't.
If it's swelling up, you can gently massage.
Okay.
Using anointment.
Not
because
there
was a girl when we're having our practical air training program. She injured herself and around the ankle, and then our coordinator, she's this mom and everything. She said, "Bring your leg." They pulled and that girl was crying.
But they don't pull in that dislocation way now. It's not as if they just want to just rub.
You know that Yoruba word, not fair war. They want to help you.
On your command far, they pull.
Okay. And that is discouraged.
It's discouraged. Putting it back is a technique. I'm not a orthopedic, but at least there's a way they insert the bone back into the socket.
Now, all of this that we've been talking about, you are a medical personnel in some ways. There are so many people who maybe when that emergency happens, there are no medical personnel. What's the importance of having this knowledge, for the average person?
Well, let me just cite this. In England, Red Cross, at some point in time, I think last year, the Red Cross, St. James Ambulance, and the British Heart Association has made several calls that first aid training should be incorporated into the school curriculum. Because mostly when this emergency occurs, is the non-medic at the first contact.
Okay.
It's even tip of the iceberg. It's what we call iceberg, just the tip that we see.
Yes.
Most of the times,
it's the neighbor, the family.
Most of the times, these people are brought in BID, brought in dead. When this emergency occurs. People don't tend to come to the hospital now until when things are getting out of hand. That's Nigerian.
That's exactly something I want to talk about. Like, at what point do you go from first aid to self-medication?
Ma'am?
At what point do you go from first aid, like knowing what you should just do for that time being, to self-medication, like to taking care of it yourself? What time should you say that, let me just stop whatever I'm doing and go to the hospital?
Well, basically, in all emergency, no little as it is, as it, we, even though while you are doing all that, we seek medical attention. It's part of the steps. You seek medical attention. You don't say you want to do it all because you don't know what caused
that thing.
Exactly. So you seek medical attention. Let them carry out further investigation. Then another one that is important. Okay. Let me finish as I was saying. So in Britain, these NGOs, they seek government, or they appeal to government to incorporate. So that tells you the importance of non-medics having an idea of emergency care.
Okay.
And in Britain, just 5% of the entire population can actually give first aid. You can imagine a developed country
like that.
And again, even out of that 5%, more than half are not confident, or more than half don't have confidence, even despite having the knowledge. They don't have the confidence to actually carry out the emergency on them, victims.
If you're going to have a first aid box, what should you have inside? Or do we have pre-packed boxes that you can just buy?
Well, basically, you can actually do that yourself.
Okay, but what should you have inside it?
Well, basically, for in an emergency box, what you should have there, well, basically, let me just say, antiseptics most times.
Okay.
Just those maybe during cuts, just those wipe off, because you as a non-medical practitioner can give injection, can prescribe drugs. So most of the time it's just what is it called, little things like that, antiseptic, little spirits,
maybe analgesics.
Yeah, sometimes TOC, over the counter analgesics like aspirin, paracetamol, diclofenac, and so on and so forth.
Alright.
But I was going to talk about cardiac arrest.
Okay, please, let's quickly talk about that before we wrap up.
Is one of the even the years that they have defibrillator in almost all their hospitals. Cardiac arrests also kill as much as 325,000 people yearly in the years, as developed as they are. Can imagine the fate of Nigeria. The fate of Nigeria, even if someone does have cardiac arrest now, let me just say 90% or let me say 95%. Don't even let me just say close to even 98. Because the first thing is that the first contact is a non-medic practitioner. He doesn't know what he's going to do. And these people that have cardiac arrest, most times they have just little time.
So when they have it, what do we do?
What should be done?
I'm talking about CPR.
Oh, okay. That works for it as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much. We've been speaking with Mr. Olajumoke Oshunloye, who is the PR of Rescue and Safety Support Initiative Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
For being on the show.